What's up? What's up?
What's up?
We are back. We are back.
Yes, we are.
All right. So we're gonna be covering
midlife crisis.
And guess what? You don't have to be old to get them.
Oh, that's what this guy said.
Or go through it.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's just a name that somebody done came up with to explain when you get old. This is what's going to happen when you get over 40 or over. Yes, 40, right?
40.
People think, yeah, well, 40, you're gonna have this crisis. So you pretty much just waiting on. Oh, here we go. It's gonna come.
The
to 40.
crisis.
It comes a crisis.
I'm almost 40.
Yeah, I'm 40, 47. So,
but I'm not. I don't know. When I hear the word crisis,
I'll be 47 this year. I'm 46 right now.
Yeah.
Let's get that correct, baby.
But when I hear crisis, I immediately think of like a hurricane or something. And hurricane cause some damage, man, because they always have the crisis response team come and help the people.
I think midlife crisis is when I see.
I mean, I don't know.
When I look at midlife crisis, I think about a guy my age, 47 years old, been married 27 years, and he leaves his wife to marry somebody that's 20 years old, be with somebody 20 years old, spends all this money, get a Ferrari, and that's how I always looked at it. You know what I'm saying? And you thinking, okay, what if this happened to me? You know what I'm saying? And it's not. That's just somebody that I just came up with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just think that you just did that to be doing it. The bottom line, you want to do you. That's all it was.
You wanted to do you. This is
That's
what it is. But this is going to talk about rebranding a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis needs a rebrand. So the word, like I said, the word crisis, how it just sounds to me is like something it's bad. It's like a happen.
Yeah. I'm glad you corrected that.
I love you, boo.
Yeah, I love you too. Hey, let's do it.
All right. Let's get on in it. All right. Okay. All right. We got
I'm a brand strategist and a designer. I'm also a white guy in his 40s with receding salt and pepper hair who drives a fast car. The very first time that I ever felt the painful grip of midlife crisis was in 1984. I was 13, sitting in my room, listening to a Doors record, and it dawned on me that Jim Morrison, one of my heroes, had died at age 27. In fact, a lot of my artist heroes had died at 27. This was not good because I was 13 and a half, and I realized that if I were to only live to 27, I was already halfway there. For a couple of weeks, this put me into a real slump. My next midlife crisis came when I was a couple years out of college. I guess I was halfway to 50 at this point, which, by the way, is an age at which a lot of other heroes had died young. But 50 is not what bothered me at this time. It was 35, because that was only 10 years away, and I knew that once I hit 35, well, I was over the hill. So that put me into a funk again for a short time. My next midlife crisis, though, came at 40 and a half. I had successfully crossed the threshold of 40 with very little drama or chaos. I was proud of this. But then, one beautiful December morning, my dad died. Suddenly and unexpectedly. There's my dad. 66 and in great health, and then he was just gone. And that was so tough, because now one of my greatest heroes, if not my greatest hero, was gone, but Also, I was for the first time really looking death in the face and seeing it stare right back at me.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're thinking to yourself, this guy sounds a little confused about what a midlife crisis is, you're right. But so are you. Because midlife crisis doesn't mean what you think it means. By definition, a midlife crisis is a dip in a person's satisfaction with their life and in their self-confidence. This dip happens about halfway through our life expectancy. But that is not what the term midlife crisis has come to mean in our contemporary culture. Most of the time that term is used, we're talking about someone, a person who's engaged in irresponsible, immature, sometimes even destructive behavior. Example: I can't believe your husband's leaving you for a 25-year-old yoga instructor. How does that happen? Well, clearly he's going through a midlife crisis, right? Now, to a brand strategist like me, when there is such a disconnect between what something is and what something is perceived as, that is a branding problem. It's a problem worth trying to solve. Now, most of the people that I've worked with on brand identity, they actually don't really know what their problem is. Like, they might know that something's a little bit off with their business, but they can't quite put a finger on it. I have two theories about businesses and identity crises. The first is that whether they realize it or not, they're probably going through one right now. The second is that even if they are, it can be the best thing that ever happened to them. So what do we do when we rebrand? Well, we start by having the company ask themselves a series of questions. Questions like, who are we? And what do we stand for? What is it that makes us unique? Who do we need to be talking to? And what do we need to say? Companies who rebrand and go about it the right way come out stronger and more successful on the other side. Think about Target when they had their impressive rebirth, if you will. They asked themselves those same kinds of questions, right? And dialed into exactly who they wanted to be. And then they just focused everything on communicating that clearly and effectively. My big problem with the term midlife crisis is that it's communicating the wrong thing. And as a result, it is a conversation ender, like every time it's used, which sucks because it should be a conversation starter.
Yes.
So how did we get here? Well, the term was coined in 1965 by a psychoanalyst who was obsessed with creative geniuses, like these guys. And he was specifically obsessed with why so many of them seemed to flame out creatively, really young, sometimes before they were even 30. Which is crazy, because that's not what midlife crisis means at all now. You know, it's very possible that this term is just a misnomer, which is an inaccurate or inappropriate name. But hey, lots of things are misnomers. Chinese checkers are not checkers. They're also not from China. Koala bears are not bears. Coconuts are not nuts. French fries are from Belgium. French horns are from Germany. But these terms, they stick. We get used to them, and the literal meaning of these words tends to fall away most of the time. And if there's no problem, it's not causing any distress, then there's really no point in changing them. I mean, we don't need to rebrand French fries, right? But what about killer whales? Aha! There's a misnomer that's actually doing some harm. First, they're not whales. Second, they're one of the gentlest of all sea creatures. But the negativity in their name has created a stigma, which is perpetuating all kinds of negative feeling towards them. These guys, I would love to help. But later. Right now, I want to help us. Those of us who've been similarly stigmatized with this awful midlife crisis term. Or, more importantly, those of us who occasionally experience a dip in our satisfaction with our lives and self-confidence. Because I know a lot of people like that. But interestingly, I kind of feel like I know more millennials that fit that description than people around my own age, right? But that's the thing about this kind of dip. I mean, it happens to teenagers, when psychology will label that an identity crisis. It happens to 46-year-olds, it happens to 66-year-olds, it happens to 27-year-olds. Remember when I said that the term was coined in 1965? Well, it didn't start being used by people really until later, about 1980, after a respected Yale psychologist named Daniel Levinson used it in his book, The Seasons of a Man's Life, which was a groundbreaking treatise on the different life phases that we go through as humans and the dips that accompany each of those phases. But here's the thing, it's not just humans. A 2012 study on hundreds of great apes found that they experience these life dips too. So it's a natural expected phenomenon, not just a factor of our crazy lives and our environment, probably of our biology. My question is, why did it have to be a crisis? I mean, we know what a crisis is, right? Did this have to be so extreme? I mean, look, we're all different, right? We're unique, every one of us. The dips that we experience are going to be different too. For some people, maybe it's just a phase where perhaps you're a little bit more reflective than normal, but otherwise fairly normal. Some people do go off the rails, as noted, but most people, of course, are going to fall somewhere in between. Okay, one last thing that nearly every study in this area has shown is that this kind of dip ends. Assuming there's no mental illness present, the dip eventually corrects itself, and a person's life satisfaction and self-confidence is almost always higher on the other side of this dip. So for that reason, most of the people in the scientific world are starting to think about these dips as more of a wave, which makes sense, because that's what our lives are. We sail across these oceans of waves, right? There's highs, there's dips. Some are bigger than others, and at any point we are just on the trajectory of a wave. Look, maybe when we are in a dip, that's a good time for us to ask ourselves a series of questions. Questions like, who are we? And what do we stand for? Can we embrace what makes us unique? And maybe most importantly, who do we need to be talking to? And what do we need to say to them? Because now I'm developing a couple of theories about people. The first is that whether you realize it or not, you could be going through a midlife crisis right now. The second is that even if you are, it could be the best thing that ever happened to you. Killer whales are not whales. They're dolphins. Your funny bone is not a bone, it's a nerve. A midlife crisis is not a reason to end a conversation. It's a reason to start one. Thank you.
I enjoyed that. He broke that down.
Yeah, he did. Wow, that was good. That was a good topic. I wrote. You say dip? You say dip of life?
A dip in life.
Oh, a dip in life.
A lot of times, man. I mean, with women, you guys, y'all share everything. You know, when y'all going through something, y'all share it. Men, it's kind of hard for us. We don't really share.
We want to go get motorcycles.
I mean, the thing is, we don't really share a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And y'all talk about, okay, I'm going through this and going, and then they may say, well, hey, you know, you're going through, you know, your cycle, whatever. But we don't really, you know, get into detail about different issues that we're experiencing. You know. And I think that we have to really learn how to talk to one another, because I'm 47 years old and you got somebody that's coming behind me. He may ask about a midlife crisis. Did you experience that? And I can clearly say, hey man, that's a dip in life. We have dips in life at age 12. Oh, I mean, from
different ages.
Different ages, man. He explained that very well. And a lot of times we're looking at what people have said back in the days. You know, you're looking at what people said, okay, midlife crisis. That's all we're thinking about, midlife crisis. You're going to experience this. So you're like, oh my God, I wonder how I'm going to be. I wonder what's going to go on. And, you know, I've been married 27 years, so I'm going to leave my wife and go find somebody that's 20 years old, a yoga instructor or something. And it's
not flexible. No.
And it's not that,
it's
you know.
Not that, no.
But we have to talk to one another. I remember this guy, he was a pastor, and he broke his leg. You know what I'm saying? He decided to, you know, pretty much, you know, do his own stint and everything. and stay home. When people was telling him, hey, you need to go. No, it's called
I know.
Yeah.
Just repeating
you know, and he decided to stay home. No, I'm good. I ain't going nowhere. Sometimes we put on this macho attitude that I ain't got to go to the doctor. And he ended up having a blood clot and died. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you know, we have to, as men, go to the hospital. Women always at the hospital. I'm not saying that they go to the doctor.
We go get
they go to the doctor. But the
we
thing is that they take care of themselves. And I'm not saying that all men don't go to
some
the
men
doctor.
do, some men don't. But
you know
of course, there's still a misconception that they have been told or whatever because of the midlife crisis.
90% of men, I mean, they're like, I'm macho. I ain't got to go to no doctor. You know, so I'm good. It is what it is.
But like he said at the end, if you're going through the dip, but when you come out of it,
you're a better person.
You're a better person for it. And I know for me, and I think I was going through a midlife crisis like a few weeks ago.
Bro,
I think so.
I was going through one when I turned 40. I was like, man, because I was thinking about what everybody was saying about midlife crisis. I'm sorry I cut you off. Go ahead.
So I'm almost 40. I'm already a grandma. I know kids. Oh God. But I was just like, oh my God, my life is not how I want it to be. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I got babies to these kids. It's summer break. Like, why she couldn't, hire somebody else but me? And I was
actually going through the same thing last week, and I was, man, I don't know where I'm at.
I'm like,
what's going on? I know I expected to be here, but I'm way back there. And then once I got past that, man, it's true story.
Yeah.
Once I got past, I was like, man, look, man, I done did a lot of stuff.
You done did
you know what I'm saying?
You were talking about that. Yeah. And I was like, wait, I'm like, okay, I got a promotion mid-year. I was able to switch schools, get into the position I have been really trying to get into, out of the classroom, woohoo! But I still make an impact in those classrooms, which is a job that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to support teachers and support kids. So my job, guess what? It allows me to do both. So career-wise, I'm where I want to be, but it's like last week, I think after meeting you had talked, I kind of got that feeling like, oh my gosh, I feel like I haven't accomplished anything. I'm like, girl, listen, you have accomplished this, you have accomplished that, you have accomplished this, you get a break over the summer to kind of reflect on what it is you want to add if you want to add something else to your plate.
You know what tripped me out? Just like that. That's why it's called a dip in life.
Dip in life.
It gets you to, look at what you have done and what you're going to do now. You know what I'm saying?
In a positive way.
Yeah, moving forward. And that's what it's about. Because if you never look at what you have done, what you have accomplished, and you will never move forward.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about.
So it's like today, I mean, I think my student loans had been on my brain and everything like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it ballooned from being, a couple thousand. Now I'm at the price of a small house. 2018 houses is how much my student loans has ballooned up to. But I called a friend of mine. Actually talked to me today and was telling me how like the law had changed and all these things, and I was like, you know what? I went on there. It only gave me credit for 24 payments as long as I've been teaching, and I went on there today. It gave me credit for 87.
Yeah.
But then when I called student loans, the lady's like, well, ma'am, we still have 25 more payments to add to the 87. I was like, well, girl.
God's good.
She said that's gonna leave you with 8 payments left. So I've already came out on the good side already, and I go tell him, like, babe, the student loan's going to be paid off by February. That's just the date that I gave. She didn't give me a firm date. It's just that because of the timing for them to process everything, but I'll give myself February as me being, debt free with my student loans. So I'm already coming out on the positive side of it now. I'm in the job I want, and I'm going to not have any more student loans, before the end of 2023.
Yeah. And the thing is, I told an older guy, he was like 6 or 7 years old. He was like, man, I mean, it's over for me. I said, man, as long as you breathing, man, you still have opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't ever say it's over for you. As long as you breathing. I think it was a guy that went to, when he got his master's degree or something, he was 80 years old.
Yeah, 90.
90 years old. So at the end of the day, man, as long as you breathing, you got opportunities.
And it was like,
always look at the positive.
Yeah.
When we focus on the negative, we'll never be able to move forward. Always look on the positive.
Yeah, I always think about the positive. I do, because I mean, I'm telling you,
Look
like
at the positive, man.
Oh God, I was sitting. I'm like, I can't.
Even if you got to hold on to one positive thing in your life,
positive.
hold on to that, man.
Something
because
positive.
Think about it. You still breathing. You still alive. You know what I'm saying? You got opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To move forward in life. And that's how I look at it.
You woke up this morning and you can go to bed.
And you woke up in your right mind.
And you woke up in your right, and you're here watching us.
Yep.
What can be more positive than that?
Hey, we gonna shut it down.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys. Hope you did find some
something out of this, man. I think somebody needed
something
that.
for that.
Yeah,
So
I know it helped me out a lot. You know.
Yes. You know, we actually listened to this the other day with our 18-year-old and our 17-year-old, and he'll be 18 on Sunday, by the way. So we don't have any more kids. Yeah. So anyway, so my daughter was listening to it, and she was like, "Oh my God, I was going through a midlife crisis," and I was like, and she was actually into the conversation, and we just going back and forth about, like, wow, really, 18 years old, and we were like, Teddy, my husband was like, Teddy, you going through a midlife crisis? She said, I think so.
But this is the thing. Now we have a new name for it.
Now we have a new name.
A dip in life. So
anybody
can use this term, a dip in life. If you're 13, 14, I don't care if you for 5 years old, that sometimes they feel like they're going through stuff too.
I know.
Like, you ain't got no bills to pay. How you
that 1-year-old on babysitting.
I didn't know that Grandpa, I'm going through something. Like, what, you just 5 years old, man? What you going through? But
go get your
everybody has a dip in life.
Yeah.
Get that sippy cup. Just look at it like that. Not midlife. Midlife crisis sounds so just
hurricanes. Maybe hurricanes. I don't know. The Red Cross. I mean, they do good work, but I'm like, I don't know. But I like that term, a dip in life.
Yeah. So
like I said, positivity. Find something positive. I mean, we positive. Just look at us.
Hey,
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Like and subscribe. You guys have a good night or good morning.
Good night.